Prince Charles has shown great warmth and generosity to Meghan Markle. Now it's vital he does the same for his sensitive son Harry. Today, we are witnessing the slow destruction of Harry, a much-loved prince, and it is a tragedy. Far away from his family and friends, out of place in the California sunshine, he is an awkward and uncomfortable figure in the woke video sermons he now issues with his wife. The fun-loving young man we used to know, who still commands such affection back in Britain, seems a distant memory. Now, he has found himself associated with a book reading like a sour litany of complaints against the people and the life he used to hold dear. It is certainly a world away from the broad smiles and glorious sunshine of just 2 years ago as Harry and Meghan waved to cheering crowds from a horse-drawn carriage in Windsor. The failed relationships and indiscretions of the past, appearing at a party dressed as a Nazi soldier with a swastika armband, for example, or racially abusing a fellow cadet, were all forgotten as the nation celebrated the prince's emergence from the sadness of his mother's death. Despite what her friends now suggest, Meghan, too, was given the warmest of welcomes, seen as an intelligent free spirit who would breathe fresh air into the stale corridors of the monarchy. Who could forget the endearing scene as Prince Charles escorted Harry's bride towards the altar in the absence of her own father, or the warmth Charles showed towards Meghan's mother, who had found herself alone. For me, the author of a recent, and critical, biography of Charles and his self-indulgent life, his actions were pure redemption. Charles used the wedding to show the nation that not only was the monarchy generous-hearted but eager to embrace multiculturalism and modernity. And in the weeks and months that followed the wedding, Charles and other senior members of the royal family were determined to let it be known that Meghan deserved praise for her hard work, her independence, her lively mind and her apparent enthusiasm for mastering her new role. Yet today, the joy of that wedding in St. George's Chapel has been forgotten. The couple seemed defensive and embittered, petulant even. Certainly if the pages of Finding Freedom are to be believed. Harry's decision to walk away from the monarchy, and criticize it so roundly, has hurt his father and caused a rift with his grandparents. Some might feel that to treat the Queen and Prince Philip so mercilessly is unforgivable. Loyalty to a new wife is one thing, but surely his duty as a grandson who owes so much to these two wonderful people was not to cause them any grief. I believe it is time once again for Charles to show that spirit of generosity, but this time in relation to his son. The authors of Finding Freedom are not far wrong when they say, highly emotional and fiercely protective of his wife, Harry was drained by the unique circumstances of his family which, as a source described, doesn't have the opportunity to operate as an actual family. Unable to pursue a career which he genuinely loved, the army, he has chafed at his lack of status in comparison with his older brother, who is, in addition, supported by a wife dedicated to upholding the formalities of life in the royal family. Of course Charles understands Harry's vulnerabilities. Sensitive and sometimes thin-skinned, his life was changed forever by the loss of his mother. As the second son, the spare, rather than the heir, he has found it harder than his brother to find a place in life. Even today Harry feels compelled to read the comments about him made online despite the stomach-knotting effect they have on him, according to Finding Freedom. I believe Charles must make every effort to rebuild bridges with his son, and I trust he will. For despite the turmoil, there remains a strong bond between father and son. According to the book, amid the turmoil of Harry and Meghan's negotiations over leaving the royal family, Harry continued to enjoy chats on the phone with Charles, who was in the thick of the negotiations about the transition. His father even said he would help them financially out of his personal money if they needed it. How did things reach such a state? Of course Meghan must take her share of blame for the breakdown in relations with the Windsors. Was it really so hard to work within the royal family and its admittedly rather formal protocols for a little while longer? Did the jealous behavior of her new relatives really justify her fleeing to America? In leaving for home so quickly, the Duchess has opened herself to the suggestion that this was what she had intended all along, that from the outset Meghan had been plotting to return to America's West Coast and make her fortune. In fairness, she denies it. But Harry, too, must bear some responsibility. If his glamorous American wife is ambitious and headstrong, she is also playing to Harry's own feelings, that he is in some way an outsider in his own family. And he is strong-willed, too. Harry and Meghan left Britain supposedly to be free, but I have my doubts. For the truth is that a combination of COVID-19, a new mood of disgust at conspicuous success, and the air of contention that seems to dog them wherever they go mean they have not yet been the success they hoped in America. To maintain their lifestyle, the houses, servants, cars, chauffeurs, they will need to make millions from their appearances. They need the work. But as one studio executive told the Mail on Sunday yesterday, the Sussexes are just too controversial to employ right now. And what, in any case, do Americans want to hear from Harry aside from stories of his mother, who remains the subject of compelling interest across the Atlantic. I hope that Harry really will find freedom, but not in the way the title of the book suggests. I pray that one day he returns to the country he cherishes, and which still cherishes him. According to the authors, Charles had made it clear to Harry that he was very much part of the future for the royal family, despite calls for a slimmed-down monarchy with fewer senior working royals. For Meghan, however, I fear there is no return.
Kate Middleton once offered Meghan Markle flowers to try to repair their relationship, but it wasn't enough. The Duchess of Cambridge did little to bridge the divide as relations became strained between an increasingly distant William and Harry in 2018, according to a new royal biography that sheds new light on Harry and Meghan's first year of marriage and their shocking decision to quit the royal family. According to the authors of Finding Freedom, Kate, who has until now been widely credited in the press as being the peacemaker between William and Harry, did not go out of her way to make friends with Meghan when she married into the royal family. Despite also being a commoner when she married William, there was apparently no meeting of minds between the duchesses, and a friendship never flourished, as revealed in the latest excerpt from the book published Saturday in the Times. Speaking to the Mail on Sunday, friends of the Cambridges responded that the couple had done all they possibly could to welcome Meghan into the royal family, including Kate personally cooking vegan meals for Meghan during a visit to their home at Anmer Hall. While Kensington Palace initially downplayed rumors that Kate and Meghan fell out, following reports that the two women did not get along, Finding Freedom authors Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand confirmed through speaking to sources close to Meghan that the two women didn't have much in common. According to the authors, they struggled to move past distant politeness and had nothing in common other than the fact that they lived at Kensington Palace. They recount an awkward moment when the two women crossed paths while living a stone's throw from each other at Kensington Palace. Both were heading out to the same street for a shopping expedition, but Kate went one way in her own Range Rover, leaving Meghan to shop alone. Meghan had apparently hoped that Kate would show her the ropes. But according to Scobie and Durand, Kate, who was pregnant at the time with Prince Louis, was cool and distant with Meghan and did not go out of her way to make friends. The truth was Meghan and Kate just didn't know each other that well. Though it was not necessarily her responsibility, Kate did little to bridge the divide, according to the authors. She was fiercely loyal to her husband and his family. While the friendship was still by this point at an early stage, reports in the tabloids about the dueling duchesses upset both Kate and Meghan. While palace aides attempted to squash the story, briefing some royal reporters that the two women were in touch on the phone and via text, the story was nonetheless front-page news. Vanity Fair understands that at one point Kate attempted to rectify the situation by taking flowers to Meghan as a peace offering. While this anecdote is not detailed in Finding Freedom, Meghan, who according to Finding Freedom had accepted flowers from Kate in the past for her birthday, told Kate in no uncertain terms that flowers were not enough. In late 2018, the Sussexes announced they were leaving Kensington Palace for Windsor, a move that appeared to give credence to unconfirmed reports that the Fab Four were more hostile than fabulous. According to the book, the Cambridges never visited the Sussexes at their new home at Frogmore House once. While Harry's feelings have never been laid bare before, the authors claim he was deeply saddened by the growing distance between him and his brother and sister-in-law, having hoped that their children would grow up together. Prince William snubs Meghan, confessing he and Harry are separate entities now. The rift between Prince William and Prince Harry appears to be worsening by the day, as suggested by the new excerpt released of an explosive tell-all book. Written by Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand, the book titled Finding Freedom gives a glimpse at all the events that took place within the royal family that eventually led to Harry and Meghan Markle's exit. The book claims that the Duke of Cambridge was unhappy with his little brother's decision of taking an exit. William, a Kensington Palace source explained, remained upset that private family matters were made public by the couple. "It's not anger," the source explained. "It's hurt," explained the writers. William was more than happy to leave the matter up to staff. He was reported to have told a friend, "I've put my arm around my brother all our lives and I can't do that anymore. We're separate entities," they wrote further. The sudden shift between the relationship of the two brothers and their wives Meghan and Kate Middleton, was quite noticeable at the Commonwealth Day service at Westminster Abbey back in March. While Harry and Meghan both greeted William and Kate with smiles, the Cambridges showed little response. It was the first time the two couples had seen each other since January. "Harry," William nodded, ignoring Meghan. Next news, Meghan Markle reduced to demeaning labels, called Harry showgirl, says new book. Meghan Markle had a strained relationship with members of the royal family. Ever since she tied the knot to Prince Harry, she has ruffled a lot of feathers, but always stood her ground. According to New Royal's book Finding Freedom, the former actress was contemptuously snubbed by a senior royal who referred to her as Harry's showgirl. The book further goes on to make a couple of bombshell revelations, including Meghan being shunned by palace staff and Harry's older brother William, who once advised Harry to take his time to get to know this girl. In those last two words, this girl, Harry heard the tone of snobbishness that was anathema to his approach to the world, as penned by journalists Duran and Scobie in the second of 3 excerpts in the Times of London. During his 10-year career in the military, outside the royal bubble, he had learned not to make snap judgments about people based on their accent, education, ethnicity, class or profession. The source told the authors that Harry was pissed off that his brother would ask such a thing. The brothers grew apart from each other and Kate did little to bridge the rift between the two. Flowers for her birthday were nice, but Meghan would far rather have had Kate check in on her during the most difficult times with the press, the authors say, describing awkward moments between the two women. In one instance, after Meghan and Harry had started dating, both went shopping to the same street. But Kate went in her own Land Rover, seeming to shun Meghan. Meghan was disappointed that she and Kate hadn't bonded over the position they shared, but she wasn't losing sleep over it, the book says.